What if one harmless habit you do every single day is quietly causing your prostate to swell, and you don't even know it yet? I've seen men lose sleep, confidence, even their relationships over this one silent mistake. And here's the shocker. It has nothing to do with aging. I'm Dr. Carson, a senior health specialist with 30 years of experience, and today, I'm exposing the everyday habit most men think is harmless, but could be the real reason behind years of discomfort and decline. I'm Dr. Carson, and I need you to listen closely, because this may be the most important health message you'll hear all year. It started with a patient. Let's call him James. James was 68, retired, and living what most would call a peaceful life. He played golf on weekends, watched his grandkids after school, even kept up with some volunteer work at the local library. But James had a secret, one he didn't even fully understand himself. Every night, like clockwork, he would wake up 2 or 3 times to use the bathroom. During the day, he felt a nagging pressure, a sense of not quite emptying his bladder. Then came the frustration. Having to push, wait, hesitate, all just to urinate. But James thought, well, this is just what happens when you get older, right? Wrong. That's the lie so many men have been told. That this is just aging. That struggling to urinate, waking up at night, feeling uncomfortable down there is a normal part of getting older. I'm here to tell you, it isn't. And what shocked James even more? The real cause of his growing discomfort wasn't just age. It wasn't even disease. It was something far more subtle and far more dangerous. It was what he did every single day. His habits. That's what no one talks about. That's what most men never realize until it's too late. James wasn't sick, but his lifestyle, the way he drank water, or didn't, the way he sat, what he ate, how he handled stress, was silently feeding a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia. In plain terms, his prostate was slowly, quietly enlarging. No pain, no warning bells, just a gradual shift towards something that, left unchecked, could destroy his quality of life. You see, most men won't talk about this. There's embarrassment, denial, or simply a belief that it's inevitable. But as a doctor who has treated hundreds of men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, I need you to understand, it doesn't have to be this way. That's why I created this message. Because what happened to James is happening to millions of men right now, maybe even to you. And not because of bad luck, genetics, or the calendar turning another year, but because of 10 everyday habits that silently, invisibly, relentlessly enlarge the prostate. These habits are so common, so ordinary, that you won't even realize they're hurting you. You might be doing all 10. You might think you're making healthy choices, but I promise you, by the end of this video, you will see your daily routine with new eyes. You'll understand the risks, and, more importantly, you'll know how to stop the damage before it gets worse. So, if you've ever felt frustrated, uncomfortable, or uncertain about what's happening in your body as you age, don't go anywhere. What you learn today could be the turning point in your health journey. And if you're someone who thinks, it's already too late for me, let me stop you right there. I've seen men in their 80s reverse symptoms and reclaim their freedom, just by making simple, consistent changes. You're not powerless. You just need the right information and the will to act. Before we dive into the habits, I have one small favor. If this message already speaks to you, even just a little, please consider subscribing to this channel. It's free, and it helps me and my team keep bringing you life-changing health content that no one else is talking about. Your support fuels this mission. And trust me, there's more coming. Now, before we jump into the countdown, let me ask you something. A quick question that could change how you think about your own health. Which do you believe is more dangerous for your prostate? A. Sitting for long hours without movement. B. Eating red meat every day. Type your answer in the comments, A or B. There's no right or wrong, only awareness. I'll reveal the full explanation soon, but I want to know what you think first. Or tell me this. Have you ever noticed changes in your bathroom habits that no one talks about? If yes, type 1 in the comments. You're not alone, and your voice helps others feel seen too. Let's get started. When James sat across from me that Tuesday morning, what struck me wasn't his lab results or his blood pressure. It was the way he leaned forward in his chair, whispering, "Doc, is this normal?" He was referring to what had become a daily discomfort, something he didn't talk about even with his wife. The frequent urination, the stops and starts, the sleep disruptions, and the quiet, creeping anxiety that maybe, just maybe, something inside him was breaking down. But it wasn't breaking down. It was building up. His prostate, specifically. Slowly. Silently. What I told James that morning is what I want to tell you now. You're not just dealing with age. You're dealing with patterns, habits you've built over the years that may be putting pressure on one of the most sensitive areas of your body. And the worst part? These habits don't feel dangerous. They feel normal. That's what makes them so deceptive. I've spent decades studying how the prostate reacts not just to disease, but to daily life. And over time, I've identified 10 habits that appear harmless on the surface but cause quiet, chronic stress to your prostate gland. When I explain them, most men look at me the way James did, with a mix of shock, regret, and relief. Because they finally understand it's not their fault, but it is their responsibility to make a change. Let me walk you through these 10 habits, not to scare you, but to empower you with knowledge, because every single one of them is reversible. The first is dehydration. Most men over 60 drastically reduce their water intake, not out of laziness, but out of strategy. They think drinking less means fewer bathroom trips, especially at night. What they don't realize is that this leads to concentrated urine, which irritates the bladder lining and, by proximity, the prostate. It also weakens the bladder over time, causing it to contract more forcefully and frequently. That force pushes right down onto the prostate. Chronic dehydration also leads to higher inflammation, which is a major contributor to prostate growth. It's not about flooding your body with water. It's about consistent, small sips throughout the day. You're not just hydrating, you're healing. Next is prolonged sitting. Retirement often means more sedentary days. Watching TV, reading, napping, scrolling. But sitting for hours without movement compresses the pelvic floor, restricts circulation, and creates inflammation in the tissues surrounding the prostate. Blood flow is your body's built-in repair system. Cut that off, and your prostate becomes a stagnant pond, not a flowing river. Just standing up every 30 minutes and walking for a couple of minutes can restore blood flow and reduce pressure. Movement is medicine. Then there's caffeine. Coffee, black tea, energy drinks. They've become comfort rituals. But caffeine is a diuretic and a stimulant. It irritates the bladder, increases urgency, and causes muscle tension in the pelvic region. For a healthy young man, the body compensates. For a man over 60 with a slightly enlarged prostate, it's like adding gasoline to a smoldering fire. I'm not asking you to give up coffee entirely, just to be mindful. 1 cup in the morning is fine, but when it becomes 3, 4, 5 cups a day, you're slowly pushing your prostate into distress. Spicy and processed foods are another silent culprit. Think about the average meal. Maybe a bit of hot sauce, cured meats, salty chips, or microwave dinners. These are filled with additives, preservatives, and inflammatory ingredients. Spicy compounds like capsaicin and excessive sodium cause irritation and swelling in the urinary tract. Processed meats also disrupt hormonal balance, especially testosterone, which directly influences the size and behavior of your prostate. The shift doesn't have to be radical. Even replacing one processed meal a day with something fresh and whole can begin the reversal process. Holding in your urine is another common but harmful habit. We're trained from childhood to hold it until the time is convenient. But as you age, your bladder loses some of its elasticity. Holding urine causes it to stretch, pushing down on the prostate like a balloon filling with too much air. Repeated stress like this leads to chronic inflammation. Worse, it leaves residual urine in the bladder, which can cause infections, and infections inflame the prostate even further. The moment you feel the urge, honor it. It's your body's way of protecting you. Smoking, whether you do it or are regularly exposed to secondhand smoke, wreaks havoc on your prostate. Nicotine restricts blood vessels, limits oxygen supply, and introduces toxins that the body struggles to flush out. This toxic buildup accumulates in delicate areas like the prostate, where it causes tissue damage and accelerates enlargement. Even if you've smoked for decades, stopping now can still dramatically improve circulation and reduce inflammation. Your prostate wants to heal. You just need to give it the chance. Skipping regular screenings is one of the most dangerous oversights. I've had patients who waited until their symptoms were unbearable, only to discover their condition had advanced past the point of simple intervention. Prostate enlargement often happens without pain or obvious warning. That's what makes it so insidious. Regular checkups, PSA tests, and digital exams are not just routine, they're lifeline. Don't avoid them with fear. Use them as tools to stay ahead of what's coming. Eating red meat daily, especially processed meat, is another slow burn. These meats contain saturated fats and nitrates that increase oxidative stress in the body, inflaming the prostate and disturbing hormone regulation. Meat isn't evil, but moderation is key. Reducing intake to once or twice a week and diversifying your protein sources can bring hormone levels back into balance and give your digestive system a break, reducing pressure in the lower abdomen and pelvis. Excess belly fat is more than cosmetic. It's a biological signal. Abdominal fat produces pro-inflammatory chemicals that circulate throughout the body and target organs like the prostate. It also contributes to hormonal imbalances, like increased estrogen, that worsen prostate issues. You don't need a six-pack. You just need to start shifting your waistline slowly in the other direction. Every pound lost takes pressure off your organs and brings your hormones back into harmony. And finally, unmanaged stress. This is the hardest one to see, but often the most damaging. Chronic stress floods your body with cortisol, tightens muscles around the pelvis, disrupts sleep, and suppresses immune response. It also throws your hormones into chaos. You may not link stress to your prostate, but your body does. Daily stress management, through breathing exercises, light walking, stretching, even music or prayer, creates a biochemical shift that reduces inflammation, soothes nerves, and restores function. Don't dismiss this as just mental. Your mind and your prostate are more connected than you know. Now that you understand these 10 habits, the question isn't whether they're affecting you, it's which ones are, and how soon you're ready to start changing them. You don't have to fix everything today, but you do have to start. And that first step, like James eventually took, can bring relief not just to your prostate, but to your entire life. I remember the look on James's face the day he came back to see me. 6 months after our first conversation. He walked in with a straighter posture, a firmer voice, and a quiet confidence I hadn't seen in him before. I asked him how things were going, and he smiled. Not the polite, vague smile people give when they're just trying to be hopeful, but the kind of smile that comes from real change. He told me, "I don't wake up 3 times a night anymore, Doc. I've started sleeping through. I didn't even think that was possible again." That's the power of consistency. That's the result of small choices made daily, over time. The most remarkable thing about James's transformation wasn't that he bought a miracle supplement or followed some extreme routine. It was that he listened, he understood, and then he did something incredibly simple, but rare. He acted. This is where so many men stumble. They hear the advice, they nod in agreement, but they hesitate. They think it's too late, that their age, their habits, their symptoms are too far gone. But I want you to understand something that medicine often forgets to emphasize. The human body is remarkably forgiving. Your prostate isn't demanding perfection. It's asking for relief. Every day, your body is trying to heal. Your cells are working to repair damage. Your immune system is constantly recalibrating. But it needs your cooperation. It needs space. It needs less friction, less inflammation, less pressure from the outside. And that's what those 10 habits we discussed are really about. Reducing the daily burden on your prostate so it can do what it was built to do. When you begin making small, consistent changes, drinking more water, standing up more often, eating a little cleaner, breathing a little deeper, your body notices. And it responds. Not always instantly, not dramatically like flipping a switch, but gradually, like a heavy curtain being drawn back to let in the light. I saw this with Robert, a 72-year-old former truck driver. For decades, he sat for 10-12 hours a day behind the wheel, fueling his days with coffee and gas station snacks. When he retired, the symptoms came in hard. Urgency, leakage, sleep interruption, embarrassment. But after we talked, he started taking short walks after breakfast and dinner. He switched to herbal tea in the afternoon. He began journaling his meals and his bathroom habits just to track how things were shifting. At first, he said, nothing changed. But then, after a few weeks, he realized he was making it through the night more often, that he wasn't feeling that constant pressure during the day. It didn't feel miraculous. It felt earned. That's what I want for you. Because here's the truth. When you take pressure off the prostate, when you reduce inflammation, improve circulation, balance hormones, and nourish your body with what it truly needs, healing becomes inevitable. Your body has no choice but to respond. And no, this doesn't mean you'll never need medical intervention. For some men, medication or procedures may still be part of the journey. But even then, these lifestyle shifts amplify the benefits of those treatments. They help your body recover faster. They reduce side effects. They put you in the driver's seat instead of waiting passively for someone else to fix you. This isn't just about symptom relief. It's about freedom. Freedom to sleep through the night, to go on a trip without planning every stop around a restroom, to sit through your grandson's school play without squirming in your seat, counting down the minutes until intermission. It's about getting a piece of your life back, the part you didn't even realize you'd lost because the change was so gradual. And let me tell you something else that matters deeply. When you start taking care of your prostate, you start taking care of your whole self. These habits don't just shrink an inflamed gland. They improve your heart health, your digestion, your energy levels, even your mood. I've seen it over and over. A man starts walking daily to help his prostate, and 6 months later, he's off blood pressure meds and playing tennis again. He cuts back on red meat for prostate reasons and ends up losing 20 pounds and reversing his pre-diabetes. The body doesn't compartmentalize health. It's all connected. And when you make changes for one organ, the rest of your system celebrates too. What I hope you're starting to realize is this: you're not broken. You're just out of alignment. And alignment can be restored. Not overnight, not effortlessly, but with a clear plan and steady effort. That's why I encourage every patient, no matter how old, no matter how long they've been dealing with symptoms, to start with just one change. One. Maybe it's choosing water over soda. Maybe it's walking for 10 minutes before lunch. Maybe it's setting a reminder to stand up every 30 minutes. Start there. Then build. Stack the wins. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum through action. There's something powerful that happens when a man decides to care for himself. Not out of fear, but out of respect for what his body has carried him through. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. And you don't have to do this alone. There are resources, communities, tools, even simple apps to track your water intake, your sleep patterns, your symptoms. Use them. Take advantage of the modern world to protect your most fundamental asset, your health. So when I think back to James, to Robert, and to the hundreds of men like them who've sat in my office, uncertain, frustrated, but willing, I see what's possible. And I see it in you too. You're not at the end of the story. You're just in a chapter. And the next chapter can be stronger, more comfortable, and more free, if you choose to write it that way. When I first began treating prostate issues nearly 2 decades ago, what frustrated me most wasn't just the lack of awareness. It was the lack of tools. Men would come into my office with months, sometimes years, of symptoms, but no record of when it all started, how often it happened, or what triggered it. I'd ask simple questions like, how many times are you waking up at night? Or, what did you eat on the days your symptoms got worse? And I'd always get the same answer. I don't really know, Doc. I just feel off. It's not their fault. We've never been taught to track these things. No one hands you a journal at 60 and says, start logging every bathroom visit. But the truth is, when it comes to your prostate, small details matter. They matter a lot, and without them, even the best doctor is flying blind. That's why I've become a huge advocate for using simple digital tools to take control of your health, especially ones designed specifically for men in your stage of life. Not gimmicky fitness apps with complicated charts and unrealistic goals, but straightforward, practical, senior-friendly tools that help you notice patterns, track symptoms, and make informed decisions. One such tool that's changed the game for many of my patients is what we call the Senior Health Tracker. It's an app, yes, a smartphone app. But before you roll your eyes and say, I'm not good with technology, let me stop you. This was built for you. Big buttons, clean layout, no distractions. You don't need to be tech-savvy. You just need to be willing to take 3 minutes a day to tell the app how you're doing. And those 3 minutes? They can save you 3 months of pain, confusion, or delayed diagnosis. I've had men use the tracker for just 2 weeks and then show me logs that helped us pinpoint exactly which foods triggered their urgency or which part of the day their symptoms flared up most. Some discovered that their second cup of afternoon coffee was the real enemy. Others saw that nights they forgot to hydrate properly ended with multiple bathroom interruptions. And still others found their symptoms worsened during periods of high stress and could start building emotional coping strategies to ease the load. But it's not just about you and your awareness. It's also about me and how I can help you better. When you come into my office with 3 months of tracked entries, fluid intake, sleep patterns, urination times, energy levels, I don't have to guess. I can connect the dots with clarity. I can make tailored recommendations, adjust your treatment plan more precisely. or even avoid unnecessary medications. It's like this. If you were building a house, you wouldn't guess where the plumbing goes. You'd look at the blueprint, and your body, especially your prostate, needs that same kind of planning. I've seen patients come in with printed logs from the app, highlighted notes, and thoughtful observations. These men become partners in their own recovery. They don't just wait for health to happen, they participate in it. That shift in mindset is everything. And let me speak to something even deeper. When you take a few minutes each day to check in with yourself, when you slow down and observe your own patterns, you begin to reconnect with your body in a powerful way. You start to realize, this isn't something happening to me. I'm part of it, and I can help steer it. That sense of agency, of control, is one of the most healing things I can offer any patient. Because with it comes hope. And hope turns into action. And action, over time, turns into results. Now I know some of you might be thinking, I've never used an app before. I don't even know where to begin. That's okay. No one expects you to be an expert overnight. Ask a family member to help install it. Watch a simple how-to video. And once it's on your phone, you'll see. It's not complicated. It's empowering. We live in an era where our phones can recognize our faces, predict the weather, and tell us when to take our next turn on the road. Why shouldn't they also help us navigate our health, especially when the stakes are this high? Imagine being able to look back on a week and realize that your best sleep came the day you walked in the afternoon, or that your worst night came after you skipped water all day. That's not just helpful, that's transformative. And if you're someone who prefers writing it all down, use a notebook. What matters is that you're paying attention, that you're keeping a record, that you're turning guesswork into clarity. I've seen men create a full turnaround in their health just by using a pen and paper with discipline. But the advantage of an app, of course, is its ability to alert you, to send reminders, to gently nudge you when it's time to move, hydrate, or prepare for rest. It's not just a tracker. It's a quiet partner, walking with you each day. I believe deeply that technology, when used correctly, should serve our humanity, not replace it. And in this case, it serves your body's healing process. It supports your doctor's ability to help you, and it strengthens your own confidence in your health journey. So here's my invitation to you. Don't underestimate the power of simple tracking. Don't ignore the opportunity to gather knowledge about your own body. Because your body is talking to you all the time, you just need a system to listen better. Let the Senior Health Tracker, or any method that works for you, be your second set of eyes. Let it catch what you miss. Let it guide you gently toward the habits that restore you. You don't need to do this alone. Let the tools exist for you, and use them with purpose. Health is not a mystery. It's a story. And every habit, every symptom, every entry you log is a sentence in that story. Use your tools to help you write one that ends not in silence and struggle, but in strength, clarity, and peace. If you've made it this far, then something in this message has stirred you. Maybe it was the reminder that your discomfort isn't just getting old. Maybe it was hearing another man's story and seeing yourself in his shoes. Or maybe, just maybe, it was the realization that there are still choices you can make. That your future isn't fixed. That how you feel next month, next year, even tomorrow, is still within your hands. That truth alone changes everything. Because now you face a moment of decision. You've heard the information. You know the habits that may be silently harming your prostate. You understand the power of small daily changes. And you've seen how other men, just like you, have reclaimed their comfort, their energy, and their confidence. So what's next? This is where it gets personal. You can choose, right now, to take one step. Just one. Not 10, not all at once. Just one habit to shift. One small act that tells your body, I'm with you, I'm listening, I'm ready. It could be as simple as drinking more water today, or getting up every half hour and taking a walk around the room, or deciding that tonight, instead of scrolling through news or television until midnight, you're going to rest early and give your body the recovery it deserves. These might seem like tiny gestures, but I promise you, they're not. Every one of these choices is a message, a signal to your cells, your blood vessels, your nerves, your hormones. We're healing now. We're no longer ignoring the signs. We're responding. The men who see the greatest change are not the ones with perfect routines. They're the ones who begin, and then begin again, after they slip, and again, because the point isn't perfection. The point is progress, movement, momentum. And the beauty is, you're not alone in this. There are thousands of men watching this same message right now, feeling the same knot of uncertainty in their gut. There are brothers, fathers, uncles, friends, each one silently wondering if what they're going through is normal, if it's fixable, if it's even worth talking about. And when just one of you raises your hand and says, "This sounds like me," something shifts in the room for everyone. So I ask you, speak up, not just for yourself, but for the next man who reads your comment and breathes a sigh of relief because he realizes he's not alone. Tell me below, which of these 10 habits do you recognize in your life? Which one do you think you can change starting today? Write it out. Let it be real. Because when you name something, you start to own it. And when you own it, you can start to transform it. If nothing else, type "I'm ready" in the comments. That simple phrase might be the beginning of a whole new chapter. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt heard, understood, maybe even challenged, please subscribe to this channel. It's more than a button. It's a way to stay connected to this journey, to receive new videos, new tools, new stories that might be exactly what you need. Next time life throws you a question you're not sure how to answer, I create these videos not as content, but as conversation, as guidance, as a hand on your shoulder from someone who's walked this road with hundreds of men and knows just how heavy it can feel. And if someone you care about is over 60 and you know they've been quiet about their health, maybe too quiet, send this to them. Give them a doorway into understanding. Sometimes all it takes is one video to open a man's eyes to what's possible. Let's stop pretending this is just about the prostate. This is about quality of life, about dignity, about peace of mind. It's about being able to laugh without pain, sleep without interruption, live without fear of the next urgent trip to the restroom. It's about freedom, and that freedom isn't reserved for the young or the lucky. It's available to those who are willing to meet their body where it is and walk with it, not against it, towards something better. So what will your next step be? Not someday, not after another test or another symptom. Right now. Pick one habit. Start it today. Track it for a week. See what happens. Let your body surprise you with how much better it feels when it finally gets the support it's been quietly asking for. And if you already know the habit you want to change, whether it's caffeine, sitting too long, or holding your urine, tell me in the comments. Let this be your moment of clarity. This isn't just a health message, it's an invitation to feel better, to take back your energy, to walk into the next years of your life with strength, not shame, with purpose, not pain. You have everything you need. Let's begin. In the end, what we've uncovered together isn't just a list of health warnings or a set of lifestyle adjustments. It's a mirror. A mirror that reflects the truth so many men avoid for too long, that the quiet discomforts, the frequent bathroom trips, the sleepless nights, the nagging worry in the back of the mind. They're not random. They're signals, gentle but persistent messages from your body, asking for help, asking for change. Your prostate isn't the enemy. It's a sensitive, responsive part of your system that reacts deeply to your habits, your stress, your choices. And the great revelation here is this: if your habits created the problem, your habits can help reverse it. That is a rare gift in medicine. When the power is returned to the patient, not locked inside a prescription bottle or behind an operating room door. I've walked this road with so many men who thought they were too late, or too far gone, or just getting old. And time after time, I've watched them reclaim control. Not because they were perfect, not because they did everything at once, but because they started. That first step, that quiet decision to drink more water, take a walk, say no to the third cup of coffee, those were the moments when everything began to shift. And now you're at your moment. You've listened. You've reflected. And maybe something in this message hit close to home. That's a good thing. Discomfort often comes just before change. It's the body's way of waking you up, not to punish you, but to invite you into something better. So, what's the lesson here? It's that healing is not reserved for the lucky few. It's not about being young or genetically gifted or doing everything perfectly. It's about awareness. It's about choosing presence over avoidance. It's about noticing what your body has been trying to tell you and finally deciding to listen. Apply this truth not just to your prostate, but to everything. Your heart, your sleep, your digestion, your relationships. Begin to ask, what is my body asking for? What is it trying to tell me? That question alone can be a compass for a healthier, more grounded life. Let this be your wake-up call. Not a call to panic, but a call to act with intention. To show your body the respect it deserves. To live not in reaction to symptoms, but in alignment with wellness. And now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one small habit you think you could change this week to support your prostate health? Please share your answer in the comments, just a sentence or two. Your insights might help someone else begin their own healing journey. If this video offered you value, clarity, or a new perspective, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your support allows me to continue creating content specifically designed to help men over 60 live longer, healthier, and more comfortable lives. And if you feel moved to support this mission further, donations of any size are deeply appreciated. They help us keep the lights on, the research flowing, and the messages reaching those who need them most. Thank you for being here, for listening with your heart, and for taking that first step. Because sometimes, that's all it takes to begin a powerful transformation.